Yeah, my first grade year in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. See, I went to school in Virginia and Pennsylvania, and we moved back and forth quite a bit, you know. And I actually went to six different schools in my first grade year, and then in my second first grade year, because I went to go to second grade, and I had all good grades in all my classes. But my second first grade year, they said they wanted me to go repeat first grade because they thought I needed the social skills, right? And it was like they wouldn't let me test out or anything. I knew how to write in cursive in my first grade year, you know. So it's like, why would they do that? Okay, so they did it, you know. And in my second first grade year, I remember my music teacher. She was giving me all zeros, and I checked my work. It was all good, you know. Take it to her, say, hey, what's going on? She's like, go sit down, whatever. She wouldn't fix it. And she's like, well, that's what I'm doing. That's, you can't do nothing about it kind of attitude. So I went to the principal, you know, and I showed him. And he's like, well, it's not my problem. You can't get them right. And I was like, no, check them. And he's like, they're right. I was like, yeah. And he's like, well, tell your teacher, she'll fix it. I said, I told her she won't fix it. And he's like, oh, I'll take care of it. So he took care of it and said it wouldn't happen again. And then it happened again. So I go back and he's like, what's up? And like, she won't stop doing this, So, uh, I eventually, after within a 2 to 3 week period, you know, I told him, I said, look, I said, I shouldn't have to go to this class. I said, I already know all the work. You can see I'm getting hundreds on all my papers that she's giving me zeros on. I said, she just wants to fail me. I was like, how about I just, you know, do something else instead of going in there? And he's like, oh, no, you need music, blah, blah, blah. I was like, well, you can see I already know how to do the calculations on the notes and everything. I was like, so you say I need music. How about I just like bring music in and listen to it, you know? And I think I'd already mentioned, hey, how about I just do math on the computer, because we actually had a computer in our classroom back then, which is a long time ago, you know? So he was like, he agreed to let me listen to my music, bring music in, listen to it, and play math on the computer. So in first grade, I was bringing in AC/DC, Black Sabbath, stuff like that, listening to Hair of the Dog, stuff like that. I was playing a video game that was on the computer that was, and adding and subtraction, multiply and division, and you do the question, you can fire a shot off, and you have these things coming down you know, like the old Atari game. So, but it was on the computer, so it was pretty fun, and I got that. And then in the same year, not long after I started going to my music class, my teacher, she come off with, as a matter of fact, it was as soon as, I'm sorry, it was as soon as I started class, probably my first day in class. I think it was definitely my first day in class. She goes, Sean Diablo Mills, did you know Diablo means the devil? So I got up, walked up to the desk and said, hey, why'd you say that? She goes, because she goes, go sit down. I said, you can go fuck yourself or whatever, you know. But I told her to go fuck herself because she said it. I can't really remember her response right now. But she told me to go to office. So I go to office, you know, and the principal was like, why are you here? I said, well, I told the teacher, go fuck herself. He's like, you're getting suspended. I'm like, no, I'm not, you know. And he's like, yeah, you are. I was like, no, I'm not. And I told him, I said, she told me my name means the devil. And Diablo means the devil. I said, and as far as I know, it means wild horse or wild stallion. And I was like, I was like, and I don't think she should have said that in front of the whole class. So I told her to go fuck herself. And, I walked up to her and told her. So he's like, yeah, you're not getting suspended, you know. And between that and the music notes thing, next thing you know, I was getting pulled out of class every week, being tested and studied and stuff. And my first IQ test was given to me in first grade, and I scored 176. See, I could read real good and write real good, and I was all the time studying and reading ever since I was 4 years old. I was playing chess at 4 years old. I was reading. By the time I was 6 years old, I was reading novels and books. For the most part, um, I'd read like the short books and stuff like that at 6 years old. But I would read animal life treasury cards, and I'd read animal encyclopedias, and I got had all kinds of magazines that had a lot of education knowledge about animals and life and insects and you name it. Every time I saw anything to do with science and life and stuff like that, I was like, yeah, I want it. You know what I mean? So I've always studied that kind of stuff my whole life. Anyway, so I guess I've just been a natural contractor my whole life, you know, and I used to do all kinds of fun stuff in school, you know, but that's just because like I loved going to school. I absolutely loved it. I actually love this world. It's beautiful. It's great. You know, it definitely it should be a lot better if everyone would just fucking drop their guard, be honest all the time, and hold their own accountability. If you fuck up, you fuck up. Own up to it. Don't be a bitch and fucking hide it. You know, just be you and fucking um, make sure that you're the you that you want to be, not the you that you think you have to be.